So I don't understand why the Giants fans booed Saquon when they should just boo the ownership of the Giants. I mean, he's not the one that decided to leave. Do you hear me? I don't hear you. Something wrong with my end.
There we are. My mic was off.
Oh,
Yeah. I've only got 30 minutes. I gotta write a paper tonight. My
well,
apologies, brother.
that's all right, bro. Let's get into it, right? And
Mhm.
let's use a few minutes.
Okay.
Like I need to check out that platform you're using because I peeped into you and your daughter's podcast and I saw how you put some highlight video into the mix, right?
You wanted to throw some Saquon up here today.
I did,
He
right?
he
Of
put
just
in
of
work.
trucking,
He put in work.
trucking
He
that
used a truck
cornerback.
stick on
Oh my
I don't even
God.
know who it was, but he ran him over.
I mean, let's be like I'd like to see them throw the ball a little bit more, but that's the Eagles offense. That let
I
the
think
big
he only threw for 110 yards or something
you
like
only,
that.
you only passed 14 times,
Hmm.
like 10 or 14. He threw that dime to fucking Brown. That was a dime. Let's be honest.
It
Aren't many
was.
can make that call, that throw.
Under pressure,
Yeah.
put the right touch on it, put it in the right spot,
And then
caught
the
him
other
in
throw I
stride.
liked was his throw to Calcaterra, right? Just he spotted. He wasn't the first guy. He was a check down, right? Like
Right.
he was boom. He went through a progression. I think Calcaterra was his third,
Yeah.
and he was wide open, right? He still misses a couple wide open
He
dudes, but
missed a couple of wide open shots where he missed Saquon over in the flat
oh yeah,
on one of the I think they still converted. It didn't matter,
he was
but
looking for AJD.
oh, is that what it was? Yeah, he was wide open. You guys were in the red zone. Saquon went out to the left side of the flat. And I think he was he had a little bit of mild trepidation from the left tackle,
Yeah,
who's playing in place of Mailata.
yeah,
Both left tackles did horrible yesterday,
oh yeah.
but yeah, the difference is Jalen Hurts was still able to find opportunities where Daniel Jones could not.
No,
So Jalen Hurts, he played a real good game. He was under constant pressure, duress. Listen, Saquon Barkley alone had more yards in the game as an individual player than the entire Giants team did. So, hats off to the Eagles. They came and did their thing.
and what I liked best was it came out. Sirianni went up to Barkley. I don't know if you recognize him. We're on the sideline chat on the bench. And Sirianni basically said to him, says, look, you're at 176. Here's the record. We can get you to 200. Right? Like, what? And Barkley was like, nah, man, let the other guys eat.
Listen, I watched Barkley's post-game presser. He's a class act,
He's
bro.
a he is a class
I've
act.
said to you the whole time,
Yeah.
I'm still a Barkley guy. I just preferred if he wouldn't have gone to the Eagles. Like, what am I supposed to say?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I still like Saquon Barkley. I still have his jerseys. You think I'm burning my fucking jerseys? Fuck no. I'm still a Barkley fan. I may not ever wear him again. I might get me a Penn State Barkley though, because he's
Yeah.
still my guy,
I got
right?
a I got a New York Giants Barkley helmet still in the box.
Oh, nice.
I'm not putting
Nice.
that motherfucker up.
No, you can't.
I can't.
You
So
can't.
yeah,
Yeah, I still got Barkley pictures hanging up in the man cave. That's my dude.
as you
So,
should.
but yeah, I think you started off asking about fans burning jerseys, and you always gonna have people doing that shit. Some people do it for likes and clicks and all kind of stupid shit on social media. other people, they get way too deep in their feelings about a game and a player who doesn't even know your name or care what your name is.
No,
Like,
no.
who are you really hurting? You bought that shit. Yeah, you know what I mean? What are
E-
you
ev-
doing?
Every time I see a Dallas Cowboy reel of them either breaking a TV or burning a jersey,
Right,
like I'm at the point, this is all staged. This is all show. There, come on. I've never broke a TV, and I've been upset at football
right,
games.
right,
Like I have absolutely yelled at the screen,
right.
and I was a volatile dude 20 something years ago. Like
Hmm.
I was not that guy that I am today, right?
Yeah.
Not to say I'm still not volatile, but like I was like, this is these people are just stupid. Like I'm over social media.
Well, mental illness is a real thing.
Like, come on, man, let it go. But
Yeah, that was a good win for Philly though. And I think the way Philly won was important because a lot of fans, and yeah, I mean, I'd ask you to speak to this if you don't mind, but I think a lot of fans felt a little happy with the win with Cleveland, but like, what the fuck, bro? Why is Cleveland giving you so many problems? It's Cleveland.
yeah,
Deshaun Watson, speaking of Cleveland, is out with a torn ACL, which sucks. But you know what?
did you see the video?
Um, I think Cleveland's going to actually win more games without him in there. I think that the mood and the temperament of the players in that locker room were not really feeling Deshaun Watson, you know? And even without Amari Cooper, I think that they're going to play a little bit better than they did. So we'll see. But how do you feel
I
as a
don't
Disney
disagree
fan?
with you on either point, right?
Okay.
Like no way, shape, or form should they have not scored 30 points against Cleveland, right? Just shouldn't have happened. Miles Garrett is still a beast. They still have some decent defensive players, but they had everybody back last week.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't have been a struggle at
No.
all. And legitimately, it wasn't a struggle, barring the block kick return for a touchdown, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
so, you take that play out of the equation, it's still an ugly win, but it's not like, oh my God, we might lose this game. You know, like
I
all
do.
Cleveland had to do was get hit one lucky break and score a touchdown. Like every team can score a touchdown in the NFL. Like that's
Yeah.
on any given Sunday. It can happen. Like these dudes are still professionals, and they're still athletes. So it can happen. And as far as Deshaun Watson's concerned, whoo, that might be the best $98 million that the Browns have to spend for the next year and a half and not have to worry about benching him. And that's a terrible thing to say for someone that just had an Achilles pop and it was ugly, dude. Like I watched the video, they did it in slow motion, close up of his calf. Like the calf just pops, right? That's what happens when the Achilles. I was like, damn, that was bad.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel for the dude, right? Because like I don't condone anything he did, but like you don't wish anybody bodily harm. I don't, right? Like karma figures it out, you know?
Yeah. I think it sucks for him, but
Yeah.
him as a human and some of the things that he did that completely contradicts my moral compass, like
Yeah.
whatever, bro. Like, I will say this. Just speaking on in terms of him as an athlete, the decline that he went through is amazing. It's kind of parallel to what we saw happen with Russell Wilson going to Denver. But I mean, Russell Wilson showed up last night in Pittsburgh, and I honestly thought they should have let Justin Fields ride, but you saw as Wilson, I mean, he had a couple of really bad throws, but you could see as he was starting to warm up like an old Buick, he started to play pretty well. But I want
Early
to
in the
ask you something
game,
else.
he had two throws back to back that were like in the dirt
I
and
saw,
3 yards in front of the receiver, like or
yeah,
behind the receiver.
uncatchable,
I was
uncatchable.
like, what? That is
Right.
terrible. But then he threw that moonshot, and I was like, there's Russell Wilson.
Well, he's got one of the best rainbow deep balls in the league and has had it for a long time.
He's got a
So,
sneaky dude that can go get it too.
yeah, he
Like
got a
I know
guy.
people, George Pickens can catch the ball.
Yeah, they need help in their wide receiver room, though. He cannot be if he goes down. Here's the thing. We're in a league where if your best player goes down, think about this. How many teams are fucked if one they lose one player? Giants are a team. I'm gonna point to the real quick. Not saying that they have a whole lot of talent in all these skill positions. However, I think that one or two plays over the course of this year so far, and the Giants might have been 5-2 instead of 2-5, right?
Yeah.
But look at what happened when Andrew Thomas went down. You guys had 12 sacks coming into the game, recorded 8 yesterday in one game
Yep.
because of one player who suffered an injury. Your left tackle. And I know Lane Johnson's been a topic of discussion too. He's getting a little older in his age, and durability comes into question. Jordan Mailata goes down, and listen, Jalen Hurts was under pressure for a large part of that game. He got
Yeah.
sacked. I don't know how many times he got sacked, maybe 4 or 5 times.
He had four or five. At one point, it was like I think they both had five at one point.
It was that first quarter was like, bro, I think the Giants kicked 12 punts or something like that. And at one point the Eagles were just like, let's just run this fucking clock out, right? I mean, it was like 10 minutes to go in the game, and they were just handing the ball off to what's the guy's name start with an S? Your third string running back. They were just giving him the ball and said, let him run it. And he wasn't picking up 1.2 yards a carry. And they knew it. They just wanted to end the game. But so there was a lot of punts between the two teams because the defenses, by and large, were playing well, except for when Barkley just took the fuck over. So, but the point that I was getting at was it's amazing how one player can be so impactful on your whole game plan. And as much as I like Pickens, is his name Pickens or Pickett? out
Pickens.
in Pittsburgh. If he
Pickens.
goes down, who do they have?
Nobody.
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 Nobody. If anybody should have been going after Amari Cooper, it should have been him. But unfortunately, Amari Cooper lost to the Steelers 2 games in a row. Once with the Raiders and then with Pittsburgh. I don't know if that's ever happened before.
Well, I mean, Devontae Adams lost to the Steelers twice in a row.
I just said that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
know if that's ever happened before.
Yeah. I don't think
Oh,
it
I
has.
said Cooper, didn't I?
You
I did say
did.
Cooper.
You did.
I
But
did say Cooper.
so the Eagles had 8 sacks and New York had 5 sacks. And they would have had more had Philly not been chopping up 250 yards on the ground. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's their offense, man.
Yeah.
You know? And if teams want to try to stop the run, because I think that if I think the Eagles can get 200 yards rushing every game if they wanted to, right? And if teams want to stop the run to not have that happen, then you're opening up the door for all the other plays.
I said that in my other podcast.
You know what I
I
mean?
said if
Like,
you're committing an extra linebacker and a safety into the box, to stop Saquon Barkley, you're creating too many opportunities for A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith to just run wild in the secondary. And then you didn't have Dallas Goedert out there, but if you got him, that's another guy you got to look out for.
Alcantara's got some pretty decent hands, apparently.
Yeah, but he just
He
ain't a
made some
good
nice
blocker.
plays.
He's not good in pass
Yeah.
pro and run blocking. So
Well, they
he's
brought in
good
that.
to he's got good hands, but listen, if they're blitzing, you're fucked when
Well,
he's
that's
out
why they
there.
were bringing in that linebacker, Summerlin, or
Yeah,
whatever, Van Summerlin.
yeah. But you guys got to be happy with the Gene, right?
Oh yeah,
He's looking real good
and
back
I'm
there.
super happy with dude. Quinyon Mitchell is a stud.
Mm-hmm.
That's the steal of the draft this year
Mm-hmm.
in my mind. When the Eagles pick him, 18th, 20th,
Mm-hmm.
steal. He is a stud. Malik Neighbors has been chewing up the league all year long. 12 receptions a game,
Yeah, but
140
the difference
yards.
was Andrew Thomas was in. He's out. Listen, I'm not making excuses for Daniel Jones. I'm ready to move past Daniel Jones and get another quarterback. The reason for that is I'm tired of the conversation about is his fault. I'm tired of it. Okay, fine. Let's move on, right?
Yeah.
And get somebody else. But if they don't address this tackle position problem in New York, I don't give a fuck who you put back there. It's going to continue to be a problem. You're going to put another good quarterback back there and you're going to ruin the motherfucker because you can't protect him. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I'm impressed with the fact that some of those blitzes that came through for the Eagles and some of those sacks that he got hit with, he held onto the ball. I was like, he going to pop one out because he was getting cracked. But he held onto the ball. So I was impressed with that. But I'm really honestly at a place where a large part, if I can just give you my Monday morning armchair quarterback or coach's view of what happened from a Giants fan's perspective in that game was the play calling was first of all, the idea that you're going to put Joshua Ezeudu, who is a guard. He's a guard. He was drafted as a guard. You tried the tackle experiment with him last year. It was an abject failure. It was a fucking train wreck. You're going to put him back in. not against Carolina, not against excuse me, some of these other teams that are still trying to figure it out. You're going to put him in against the Eagles, a division opponent who's got a really good defensive front, and think that he's going to hold up excuse me, against the pressure that they're capable of doing. That's a coaching problem. That's a bad fucking decision by Brian Dable and Carmen Brasillo into thinking that he was the best solution for your left tackle position. Number two, if you're gonna put this guy out there, no, this is no disrespect to Joshua Ezeudu. He's doing what he was told to do. But if you're gonna put this guy over there and you don't give him help, you don't put Chris Manhertz over there to help in pass pro or run blocking, or you don't put another tight end over there or have the running back chip to that side of the field, you're asking for this guy to just be a fucking matador and let him through the door. He's not a good left tackle. He's not a swing tackle. He's a guard, right? He's a guard. He does not know how to pivot when somebody fakes going out and then comes inside or vice versa. He's not capable of that. He's used to somebody to his right and to his left. That's what he's used to. When you telling him you're going to guide this entire side of the field, he's incapable of doing it. Not because he didn't pay attention to what you guys were teaching him in training camp, not because he didn't pay attention to what he was trying to be taught during preseason. He's not that. He's not that. You try to teach me how to become a basketball player. I ain't never played no fucking basketball. I'm tall enough to. I got the look that I might, but I don't ever do it. So you put me out there to play in a pickup game against fifth graders, they gonna run circles all over me because it's not what I do. So that's the second thing. The offensive line was an abject failure. That's a coaching thing. Third thing is, why weren't you running the fucking ball more? If you're running the ball, you're going to force the opponent to go into different types of defensive strategies, which you can play the play action off of now and maybe get some quick shots to Bellinger or to Theo Johnson or some quick slants across the middle to Wan'Dale Robinson, or maybe even take a shot downfield. But because you became so predictable with trying to pass the ball with a terrible offensive line, you shot yourself in the fucking foot before the game even started. And not for nothing, the defense kept them in the game for the first half, right?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
then here's another thing, and I'm going to say this and shut up and let you take over. You're going into halftime. Philly's getting the ball to come out in the second half. It's third down. You're in the red zone. You got enough time to take a shot in the end zone. And if it ain't there, throw it away and kick a field goal. You kick a field goal on third down and leave 4 seconds on the clock to give it back to Philly for them to take a knee to go into halftime? What the fuck are you doing? So there's enough blame to go in many different directions, except for the defensive coordinator. Shane Bowen called a good game. He did. Philly put up 28 points. Okay, so what? You put up 3 in your own fucking building? In your own building? And then your starting quarterback is getting fucking murdered the entire game, and you put Drew can't throw for shit Lock in the game? Drew Lock is terrible. I'd put Tommy DeVito in before Drew fucking Lock. You want to spark? Put DeVito in. Put the Italian kid in. He'll give you spark. What's Drew Lock? What kind of spark is Drew Lock going to give you?
3 for 8 for 6 yards.
He's the most uninspiring draft pick of a quarter. The fucking Broncos ain't even one of them.
You ever try to use a flint lighter on like wet tinder?
Ain't lighting
and
shit.
You just can't get shit lit. That's Drew Lock. That's Drew Lock.
Great guy, nice personality, can't throw a ball worth of shit.
So tell me how you really feel, Atticus, right? Because that sounded about as Philly as you can get. I'm just saying, right? Like that just sounded about as Philly as you can get. And Sirianni's still on my hot seat, right? Like I just think that the game that they played against the Giants, even with the pressure Jalen was getting, like they just had they ran the ball. And when
That's exactly what I said the Giants should have did. If you got a bad offensive line, you better run the fucking ball.
Yeah.
You have to. Because the run will set up opportunities that aren't going to be there if all you're doing is trying to, and you don't have 3 seconds to throw the ball.
It's like they gave up.
Here's another thing. Brian Daboll was calling slow developing plays that took 3.5 to 4 seconds to develop. By the time you're on 2.5 seconds, you're under pressure now. Listen, Philly got 8 sacks, but they also had 10 pressures and 10 hurries.
Yeah,
10
not only
pressures
that,
and 10 hurries.
Kobe Dean hit the quarterback 4 times. Carter hit him twice. Nolan Smith hit him once. Huff hit him twice. Huff looked like the guy that we traded for.
Huff looked good yesterday.
Sweat had a hit. These are just hits.
Sweat had a sack and a hit.
Yeah, Jalen Hunts had a quarterback hit. They had 8 sacks and 11 quarterback hits.
And that's not even taken into consideration the hurries.
No.
That's not even a stat that's tracked on NFL.com.
No. It's really, really hard for me to gauge this Philadelphia defense, right? I want to believe they're coming around, right? Like they got a new coordinator. It's a little bit different. The scheme's a little bit different. They got a lot of new players. They had a lot of old players shuffle out. Fletcher Cox is gone. Their linebacker core is completely different from what it was last year. And you got a couple rookies playing. Quality time. But they progressively looked better, right? Like Jalen Carter, it looks like a fucking problem, right? Like He's a
He
problem.
looked good yesterday.
He's fucking strong as
He
fuck.
played well.
He tosses 300-pound dudes like it's nothing. Nothing. And he's quick and agile, right? Nakobe Dean looked good. Nolan Smith looked good. It's just wild to me.
What's your feelings on Sirianni after this game? Or is
I
it too
mean,
soon to judge yet?
it's too soon, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cons to Sirianni, but like when you look at his record, it's pretty fucking good. Like his overall record in the NFL is second to one. One coach has a better record in the same time span, and that's Andy Reid. I mean, it's really hard, but like, dude, you gotta like, I don't know. They seem in better spirits than they did last year. Last year, you just knew something was off, and they were just winning games by the skin of their teeth, right? And they've won some games by the skin of their teeth. But yesterday, it was a good time to play the New York Giants, right? Like it was, and I was a little worried going to the game. I was like, the Giants looked like they could possibly. I would not have been surprised if the Eagles dropped the game. I would have been heated. I would have been on this podcast saying fire Sirianni. Like it would have been over, right? But they went into it, and I hope they learned a lesson. Like this wasn't just Saquon Day, right? Going back to the MetLife, Saquon is your workhorse, and he's going to get a 40 or 50-yard clip at least once a game if you give him the ball
He had
enough.
three
Let
explosive plays in one game.
let the big dogs eat up front and create the holes because they're there, right? They're there. And you said it on your podcast. I said it a few minutes ago. Like, what are defenses going to do if you can't stop them? And you're going to have AJ and Devontae and Goddard wide open. And Jalen just needs to learn how to get rid of the ball quicker. He's got
Yeah.
two games without. I mean, that when it was collapsing quick, right?
I don't know that Jalen, I don't know that he confuses me, man, because I think he is a quality quarterback, top 10, right? And sometimes I can see the read he's trying to take, and that's gonna be an interception. Don't throw that ball. I can see that from here. I'm like, why'd you throw that ball? And the truth is, I think sometimes he's forcing something he don't have to do. Just throw it away, bro. Or throw it in the dirt. Or put it in a place where it is only possible that AJ's gonna catch it or Devontae's gonna catch it. But don't throw that ball in an area of the field. And then sometimes he doesn't throw it on the rope. It's hanging there for a minute. And that safety is able to adjust and come underneath. There was a perfect example. I think it was in the game against the Falcons.
Yeah.
You guys are trying to come back.
That was a bad throw.
It was a throw that should have never happened, is what I'm saying. It should not have happened. I know where
he was trying to go, and I know what he was trying to do, right? He needs to.
But you knew it as it happened from Altoona.
Yeah.
Like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But I do think that I think Jalen Hurts is a quality quarterback, and he doesn't give up on plays, and I like that. And when he's got to bury his head in his chin and pick up those extra yards, he does it. And he's got great. I don't think anybody had escapability better than Carson Wentz did when he was with the Eagles. He was just. Well, Randall Cunningham was something else too.
Carson Wentz was doing Pat Mahomes shit before Pat
Mahomes. Carson Wentz was unreal back there, bro. Dead to rights and somehow. Anyway, Jalen Hurts is pretty good at that too, man.
Jalen was dead to rights yesterday.
Adams had him.
And he did like a whoop. So I was like, oh, okay. Like I thought he was done.
I thought he was
the ball hanging out there, and I was like, "Oh, here's a fumble."
I thought he was too. So who do you
Yeah.
guys have next week?
I want to say the Bengals.
See, you can now that's a good measuring stick. That's a good measuring stick. You got T. Higgins, you got Jamar Chase, you got I don't care what nobody says, fucking Joe Burrow is top five, period.
Joe
He's
Burrow's elite, but the Bengals are not.
yeah, he's just good. The Bengals defense has been their Achilles heel. Now, if their defense can put up a similar performance against the Eagles that they did against the Giants last week, you guys should come away. You guys are going to have a tough game. But if you guys can expose the weakness in their secondary and put some points on the board,
Yeah,
run the ball effectively, you're at home, right?
yeah.
You'll
And
be
and
okay.
I don't so I the measuring stick is weird in the NFL, right? Because the Bengals just played the Browns. They win the game 21-14. That last touchdown for the Browns in the fourth quarter, I mean, they still gave it up, right? They
A
still gave it
division
up,
game, no. I
right?
don't.
But the Browns are terrible, right? But their defense, like they don't give up a lot of points, like you don't score 30 on the Browns. So it's really hard to gauge where the Bengals are right now, right? I think it's a winnable game. I think they need to be ready. I think if I think that this game that against the Giants was a trap game. Even though it was a divisional game, right? They had a bye, they came back, they win one, they squeak one out against the Browns, and then they got the Giants, then the Bengals, right? And everybody knows the Bengals is a good measuring stick, right? And it's just the Giants, trap game, if you ask me, right? So they just gotta stick with the
You're
mentality.
saying you hope they're not feeling themselves too much going into this one.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't feel yourself, right? And then they really can't feel themselves because then they got the Jags, right? Like you should come out of this stretch, this 4 game stretch, you should be 3-1 at the worst, right? At the worst. They've already beat the Browns. They beat the Giants. They should, at a minimum, win one of their next two. They could very possibly win both. And if they beat the Bengals, they should win 4 in a row. It should happen.
Yeah.
But I like the Bengals coming to Philly, right? Like I think that it's in Cincy. My bad.
Hmm.
I'm okay with that.
I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a good game. I think a lot of people, because of Cincy's record, have slept on Cincy. I think they're a really good team. And Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow.
Joe
He's
Burrow's
a,
Joe Burrow. They haven't won at home yet. That's a
yeah.
problem, right? They got to get that home win, but
Is it
it's
a night
not,
game or?
it's a 1 o'clock game.
Hmm. Yeah. I think that's going to be a good game.
Yeah.
So let's
Who do you,
call it. What are you saying? What are you seeing?
I think the Eagles win a close one, man. I think they
Hmm.
they got another tight ball game, but they win this one by a field goal.
Provided they run the ball, run the ball. That run will set up so much. You and I had a discussion before the season started, and you were saying, Atticus, I really don't know. And I'm not saying this because I'm an Eagles fan. This is what you said. I don't know how you stop them. They got the running game, they got good tight ends, they've got great receivers, they've got a good quarterback, their line is intact. They did it right. Like they can attack you from every play. Now, what's going on with Dallas Goddard? Is he back or weak to what's up with him?
Pretty sure it's his hammy.
Oh, well, you
He's
keep him
still
out as long as
questionable.
you need to.
He's questionable.
And Mailata, is he on injured reserve?
Yep, he's out for 4 games.
All right. So your left tackle, Dick Dickerson, I think is his name. He's getting some reps over there, and the more he practices, the better he'll get. And not for nothing, he went up against a pretty good pass rush against the Giants, which he had some opportunities to take a look at whatever his technique is and where he needs to improve. Now, listen, Cincinnati's got a pretty good pass rush too. So they know how to get after the quarterback. BJ Hill has really come into his own on that defensive front and Cincy, and I forget the other guy's name. But he was like just putting tremendous amounts of pressure, collapsing the interior of that line for Cincy last week. So he's pretty good too. I think you guys can do it, and you got a Saquon. That's your X factor. You got a Saquon where if you keep feeding him the rock, that 10th time you listen, you might tackle him for a loss 2 or 3 times, but on that 10th time, he's going to break off 60 on your ass, right? And then you're going to have to respect that, and you bringing your safeties in closer, your linebackers are creeping up, and now that opens up all types of opportunities for Devontae and AJ and Goddard, and if it's Calcetra or whatever his name is, I fear I'm saying that wrong, but too many opportunities. And then you guys can really do the RPOs
Mm-hmm.
and Jalen. I know he hasn't done a lot of that this year, but when you guys have done that in the past, it was very effective. Daniel Jones did it a lot against Cincinnati, and he was very effective running the ball against them. So he had 56 rushing yards, 60 rushing yards against a stout Cincinnati defensive front. So I think you guys have the tools to win. I don't trust your head coach at all. I just don't. I think this one can go either way as far as I'm concerned. I'm thinking Cincy might win in a close one, but what's Vegas saying? Or they ain't saying nothing
Since
yet.
he's got 2.5,
Yeah, so that's okay. That's a toss up.
it's home
I'm
field.
thinking, the only reason I think Cincy might win this game is because they are at home and they want a home win. And I don't know if you remember this, but I think we talked about this before. Cincinnati ain't worth shit weeks 1 through 4.
No.
But once they pass the 4th week of the season, they're a much different opponent. They're a different team. We're in week 7 now, is it?
Yeah.
That'll be week 8.
It'll be week 8.
I'm gonna go Cincy by a field goal, man.
All right.
Yeah. And I'm in Pittsburgh. We're going to the game this weekend out in Pittsburgh. Giants are playing the Steelers.
Oh.
I'm going Pittsburgh by 14.
Mm.
I'm giving it to them.
Mm.
I ain't giving them shit. They're gonna take it. And you
They've
know
got,
why? Because I don't have faith in our kicking game. I don't have faith that we're gonna have the right play selections in place. And it's just hard to win in Pittsburgh. It's hard to win in Pittsburgh.
you're going to be out there Monday
About
night?
that.
That's a Monday night game.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Nice.
And we don't win on night games anyway. I got so many reasons why the Giants gonna lose that game. Shit. I can't even count them all.
They got Pittsburgh by 6 right now.
No, it's gonna be a lot more than that. It's gonna be a lot more than that.
I mean, that's a big spread
one
right
of two
now.
things are gonna happen. One of two things is gonna happen, Mike. Okay. The Giants are gonna lose by 14 to 17 points, or the Giants are gonna beat this team and have fans saying, "We back, we back." I don't think that one's gonna happen. I think they're gonna lose by 14, maybe 17 points, and Giants fans are going to start looking even more closely at who's coming out of the draft this year.
So for one player and one player only, right? And this really I think the Eagles have a good defense, right? I think they're young and they're coming together, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
When's the
with
last time you said
Pittsburgh,
that too? With
I
an
know,
Eagles
right?
defense, young and coming together, right?
The Pittsburgh defense is a little different level. A, they have TJ Watt. B, I think Patrick Queen is a stud and Baltimore's idiots for letting him go. And then C, they got Joey Porter Jr., who is pretty amazing in the secondary. Like they got studs at all three levels. It's hard to do.
And you know what we got? Daniel Jones. It's gonna be a
It
long night.
is going to be a long night, man.
Hey, but listen, man, you know what? I'm one of them fans that they should give me a discount on my season tickets. They should send me personalized Christmas cards because I support them no matter what. Like
Yeah.
I know what's coming.
And you
I
got that
know
nice
what's
box
coming.
of replica rings, right? Like, come on.
What's that?
You got that nice box of replica rings, didn't you?
I know. It's
You
it's
know?
actually really nice, man.
You know?
I'll give them credit for that one. They said, "Listen, y'all going to suffer this year, so let me give you a gift in advance to
Yeah.
soften the blow."
So is anybody standing out to you that you want the Giants to target in the draft, quarterback wise?
Honestly, I've not delved so deeply into it, and not because perhaps I should be at this point. My life is so busy, I don't have a bandwidth to do it. I have 2 weekends worth of college football saved on my DVR that I simply haven't had an opportunity to look
Yeah.
at. And I might add, I've been really feeling the WNBA this year, Mike.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've watched any of it, but the playoffs were incredible. Watching these women play basketball. Don't get me wrong. It's not the same as the NBA, but they were balling them girls for that level of competition. It was pretty good, man. So, but
I've always said this, right? And like I go back to the Portland I think they were the Fire back then when they had a WNBA team in Portland. I knew a bunch of the players. I kind of hung out with a couple of them.
oh wow.
Yeah, it's a little intimidating, hanging out with a 6'5" woman. Let me just say that
Yeah,
first,
I'm
first and
sure.
foremost. But it was
She
cool.
holding the door open for you, right? Like the fuck.
So I've always thought they've played a good brand of basketball. I don't like the NBA right now. I don't like it.
Right.
I think it's bad basketball.
Yeah.
I'm tired of the and one theory of you can essentially travel, right? Like I can't stand it,
The
right?
Euro step. They even
I,
gave it a name.
the Euro step is not a travel. I was doing a Euro step like in 1985. So,
Okay.
like that's to me that's a good move. It's the carry like, oh, I don't really have the ball. I'm not really holding it. So I'm going to take 18 steps. That bullshit, you
Mm,
know? And then like the extra step on a step back, it's fundamentally it's not pleasing to the eyes. But the
right.
women, for the most part, play a pretty fundamentally pleasing basketball game. And some of
Man,
them,
there's some good shooters, bro. Oh
oh,
my God. They might
I
not
don't want to
dunk,
see him in a
but
pickup game. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, I don't want to see you in a pickup game.
Yeah.
Like,
No
I'm out
doubt.
here, playing half court, man. I don't need that. you know.
Yeah.
So I hear you, man. I hope it six and stays, right? Like I hope they start generating some revenue and they can start getting paid a little bit more, right? But that's it's a business, right? And that's what it comes down to.
Until they start to draw larger crowds, and I'm not talking about people going to the stands, the arenas, because they're filling those up.
Yeah.
I'm talking about until they start seeing the Nielsen ratings showing that they've got millions of people tuning in weekly, it's not going to happen. And it's not because they don't deserve it, it's because they're not earning the same money.
Yeah.
So their market share is going to be that much
Yeah.
smaller. However, what I do like that I've seen happen with the WNBA is these players are getting picked up by some major sponsors now, which is helping to offset what they're not earning for their skills as basketball players. So they're household names, right?
And keeps them from having to go over to Europe to play, basically play basketball all year long to supplement their living.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
they don't got to do that. Well, they're getting to the point where they won't have to do that. You know,
Yeah, so week 10, I'll probably start looking at what players. Honestly, I think that the Giants
watch the
are.
playoffs. Just
I'm
watch the
sorry?
playoffs. College football has a playoff this year, so top 12 teams are in the playoffs. That's all you
Yeah,
need to watch. Every
yeah.
quarterback you're going to want to see is going to be in the playoffs.
I don't think the Giants are going to look for a quarterback in the draft unless they tank the rest of the season. I think they're going to get a quarterback in free agency. That's what I think they're going to do. I think they're going to hold out for Arch Manning. I think that's what they want to do.
So you might
I
as
don't
well
know
just
that for
ride
sure.
Danny Dimes for another year or two.
You want to know what I think they should do? I think that's what they should do. And not because I believe he's the future. That's not
Right.
why. You paid him any fucking way. You pay, and I know you know how to win with him because you did it 2 years ago. So you know how to do it. And if it means holding on to him just so you can give up the whole whatever draft capital you have to get the quarterback you want the same way you did it for Eli, that's what you do.
Yeah.
I'm not addicted to the Manning name. I think the Giants are for some reason. And I think that that's what if you watch Brian
It,
Dable's press conferences after games where Daniel Jones performs poorly and how he almost turns into a public defender. Oh, I think he made some good choices. He made a mistake here or there, but we'll watch the film. He'll correct that and whatever the case may be. I think that the Giants know we signed this man, we paid him, and the guy who they wanted Jaden Daniels, they didn't get him. The next guy that I think they want, Carson Beck might be a good guy for them to pick. I don't know. I don't know how in love with him they are. But if they don't get a quarterback in the draft, a quarterback that they want, they shouldn't spend that draft capital.
no.
You get First of all, they need to do something with this fucking offensive line. That's what they need to do. You get the pieces you need so when you get your guy, you can hit the ground running. That's what I think they need to do. And if that means sitting on Danny for another year, you sit on him for another year. Fuck it. We are used to this shit. I ain't comfortable losing, but I'm used to this shit.
Yeah.
But if it means you're building the right way, fucking build, bro. Build. That's me.
That's it. It's a good way to end, man.
All right, brother.
All right, brother.
I'll send you the information on the other software that I use. You'll
Yep.
love it.
Yeah.
It's really good. And we can work on it together, okay?
How do you use Zoom for that, or you just what do you do?
Kill your recording.